Hey everybody, welcome to round 2 of the District 14 Hare Scrambles season, Portland Trail Riders 2018. I'm lined up here next to Aaron Cook, who is a brave soul riding with a torn ACL. He didn't finish the race, but he gave it a shot. And we're about to take off here. And you'll see I get the best start of my life. Road racing or dirt bike racing, this was definitely the best start of my life. Started out third around the first corner, quickly moved into second right behind Dave Palmer there. And he and I were going to battle it out for most of the first lap. He's an ex-motocross guy, so he kind of pulled away from me here, but I caught up to him pretty quick at the bottleneck and kind of surprised him. So, like I said, right here, typical Portland fashion, there's a huge bottleneck going into the forced bypass around the enduro section for the first lap. This kid, I was wanting to go around him. I couldn't really tell what line he was trying to ride, so I didn't want to end up on the ground, so I just kind of gave him some leeway, and I'll find my way around him in a second here. This track, it's always a fun track here at Portland. It's also one of the shortest tracks, usually, of any of them that we run. So it tends to get kind of beat up. It's a rough track. It will test your endurance. Today I was feeling really confident. It was my first race with my Scott steering stabilizer, new top triple clamps. So I honestly hadn't even had a chance to practice with them at all before this race, so I was going into the blind. I had no idea what I was in for. If you heard me there, I yelled at Dave. I said, "Come on, Dave, let's go!" And he was not expecting me to be the one of any of the C-class riders to be coming up next to him and passing him. So he kind of tried to turn the gas up a little bit, but you'll see I stayed right with him for most of the first lap. Right here, I made another move past him, and bam, got nailed with mud. I lost about 8 minutes of footage, and you'll see, right here, Dave's still right in front of me. In the field section, he passed me and he gave me a little wave, and I swore I was going to catch that on camera, and I was laughing because he was thinking he was pulling away from me, but I just gave him about 15 yards, so he quit roosting me in the face, and then I stayed right with him. Right here, I was trying to keep up with him, and I just gave it a little bit too much gas a little too early and lost the back end. That was totally my bad, and that was the last I was going to see of Dave the whole race. I was trying real hard to catch back up to him, but once he got that gap on me, it was too much for me to try and get back. I don't know if Dave fell at all during the race, but that one fall was enough for him to get away from me. So that was unfortunate, but I was still giving it my all. Solidly in second place, coming through on the first lap. And by the time I got done with the second lap, I'd had a couple small laydowns where evidently a couple people had caught up to me, because I think I was in third or fourth by the time I went through on the second lap. And I was also starting to kind of pace myself a little more, because at the pace I'm riding here, I realized by the time I think I hit the woods on the second lap that I could not maintain this pace and still finish the race. It was wearing me out quick. Right here, I tried to make an inside pass on that kid, and I think there was a tree stump or something up in that grass, because I came to a screeching halt. Luckily, he stopped long enough for me to get around him. And right here, whatever made my bike twitch right there, I don't know if it was a big rock or something in the sand, but it almost made me crash. I'm glad I was able to ride out of that. So now we're back on the motocross track, coming to the end of the first lap, and again, you know, I'm pretty solidly in second place. I'm gonna show you the rest of this, and then we'll do the full second lap, just so you guys get the full track. So anyone that's ridden this track before knows Portland is a very, very sandy track. This back half of the track, they haven't really changed much from last year. Made a couple little changes, but nothing crazy. But the main motocross track was changed almost entirely. So a couple weeks before this race, Dave Palmer, his son Logan, myself, Jeff Carroll, Pony Down, our new buddy Deck, Ken Reichenbach, and Kyle Reichenbach, and I forget who else. Maybe that's everybody. But we all came and practiced at just the motocross track, just to kind of get used to the jumps, so that we were able to go out, you know, just wide open first lap. And that really seemed to pay off, at least for me. Again, you know, riding for the first time with a steering stabilizer, that seemed to make a huge difference in how much the bike wanted to fall into the corners. I do think I maybe need to turn it down a little bit. I think it's maybe a little bit too stiff. My chest muscles were killing me the day after this race, so I think it might be a little bit too stiff. I also think I need to mess around with the sweep angle on it a little bit, but you know, that was factory settings right from Scott's. You know, installed it like 2 days before this race and just went out there and went for it. So all in all, I was pretty happy with it. Maybe I just need to do some more lifting to get my chest, you know, stronger. I don't know. But you know, we were going out here hitting these jumps pretty hard, and I was having a lot of fun. It's a shame that Ken wasn't able to be out here racing, because he broke his collarbone and broke his ribs and punctured his lung at practice. But yeah, you know, it was a lot of fun, and you know, talking to Ken, I think he's gonna try and at least try to make some sort of comeback before the end of the season, which is good. You know, my biggest hope for him was that crash wouldn't be the end of his season, even if he only gets out here for one more race before the season's done. You know, just for his own personal morale, you know, I think that it'd be good for him to be able to get out on the bike one more time before the end of the season. So here we are, we're back into the woods section, and before this race, I switched tires. I normally run my Shinko, I think it's like a 538 or 568 hybrid cheater tire. And so, you know, this is the second time I had the back end wash out on me in a corner, and I had put the Michelin Starcross 5 hybrid sand tire on because this track is so sandy. And in the sand, it really, really helped. I had no problem with traction. It was really good. In this area where it's really more hard packed and actually a little bit muddy, I was having trouble with both the front and rear tires getting kind of packed with mud, and just not having the side bite and the traction that I'm used to with the Shinko tire. I still think that I made the best decision in tire for this track. You know, it was just one of those things, I wasn't used to riding that tire at all, and so just gotta get used to it. But all in all, I do think that the tire decision that I made to go with was the better choice for this track. But yeah, I wasn't crazy about this section. Normally with the Shinko tire, I feel a lot more confident in this section, and I can really carve through it and go pretty fast. And not having the confidence in the rear traction, I felt like I had to slow down more than I really wanted to. Looking at the video, it still looks like I was keeping a pretty decent pace, so can't complain too much. Just I feel like in the past I've been able to go faster through here with the other tire, but it is what it is. So we'll get through this and back out onto the motocross section. Yeah, this wood section really hasn't changed at all since last year, and to be totally honest, I'm not sure if it's changed in several years. So you know, maybe Portland guys, maybe trying a little different route, change it up a little bit, might be a good idea. But all in all, I can't complain at all about what the guys at Portland did for us. You know, being that this is one of the smaller tracks that we ride at, it gets pretty beat up, and they did do a really good job of getting this track ready for this race. You know, it's only round 2, it's early in the season, so we raced 2 races here last year, and the last race of the season was here. So for this track to be in this condition this early in the season, it was really good. So yeah, again, everything on the bike was working really well. I was super happy. Just letting some faster guys go here. Well, I wasn't even letting them go; they were just going around me. My mentality this year has changed as far as letting fast guys go, unless I'm in a situation where, like in the first round, where my back kind of seized up, and where I couldn't ride at a competitive pace. You know, then I'll let guys go. But at the end of the day, if I'm riding at what I feel is a competitive pace, and the fast guys come up on me, I'm not moving. I'll give them space, but I'm gonna keep riding my race. And you know what? The fast guys should be good enough to get around me. That's all there is to it. No more just giving places. I've crashed too many times in the past, and yeah, it's just not worth it. So any of the fast guys, you can find your way around. So right here, this was a nice wide open stretch, and yeah, I was feeling awesome, just nailing those jumps. And you know, I felt really good. I felt like I was riding fast, and then right here comes Spangler, just blows me away. It's really crazy when you think you're riding fast to see the real fast guys come blowing past you. and literally leave you in a cloud of dust. So this stretch right here is where David passed me on the first lap, and he was throwing corn stalks and some pretty decent sized rocks right at me. So like I said, he kind of waved at me. I backed off about 15, maybe 20 yards just so that stuff quit hitting me in the face, and I stayed right with him. This section here is a little bit slick because of the grass, but you know, I had a lot of fun in here. There's a couple little log jumps that you saw in the first lap that can kind of give you some trouble. If you're not careful, they'll try and throw you right over the handlebars, and they usually do try to. But at the end of the day, if you're prepared for them, it's not too bad. And I kind of have fun out here. It's an area that, there's no real berms, so it's a little bit harder to really carve into the corners, but if you can get a berm, if a berm starts to form, you can really start cruising through these sections, and it gets to be a lot of fun. You gotta watch out for the giant pricker bushes though on this track. I've lost 2 jerseys on this track because of pricker bushes in this section. I swear they jump out and grab you and just rip your clothes open. But yeah, so all in all, everything was going good, and I guess I'll be a little bit of a spoiler here for those of you that don't know. I did not finish this race, and it had nothing to do with my back or anything like that. Actually, going to the chiropractor, my back has been feeling a lot better, so I've been feeling like I can really push it hard again and not worry too much. I mean, my back might get sore, but it's not seizing up like it was, so that's good. But yeah, I'm not gonna tell you what happens if you don't know. You'll see it. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad either. So when we came out here to practice 2 weeks before the race, I only got to go out for 2 heats, and my rear master cylinder failed. One of those situations where you don't know it's gone until you try and stop in a corner or slow down in a corner, and you got no brakes. And I ended up going across the track, almost taking another kid out, and I thought I was going to die. So there's one of them log jumps I was talking about. That's one that'll definitely catch you off guard if you're not prepared. So anyway, yeah, second heat out for the day, I lost my brakes, and so I think, if I remember right, by the time I got the brakes fixed, it was only a day or 2 before this race. And I had a heck of a time getting the rear brake pedal to bleed out, or to function. I don't know what the deal was. I've got the standard rear foot pedal for the brakes for the rear, as well as the Recluse left-hand rear brake kit. And I normally don't use the pedal at all. In fact, I took it off last year, and I thought maybe that was part of the reason why I had issues with my master cylinder going out. So I went ahead and reinstalled it and just lowered it way down so that I don't accidentally hit it when I go over jumps, because that's the reason I took it off in the first place. So after I rebuilt the master cylinder, I could not get the master cylinder to bleed out so that the rear brake pedal would work, but the left-hand rear brake lever did work. So I didn't really think too much of it because I wasn't worried about using the pedal anyways. But the one thing I did notice is that before the race started, I had to basically prime the system by pumping the brake about 6 times. And then once the race started, I didn't have any issues. But I found out just, I think it was 2 days ago, that when I rebuilt the master cylinder, I must have put a seal in upside down. And it was allowing the pressure from the pedal to bleed off. So even though there was no air in the system, the seal was not holding the pressure. So that normally wouldn't have concerned me, but you'll see coming up here on the 3rd lap that the brakes are what failed me, and that's what took me out of the race. So, again, coming through here on the 2nd lap, I'm not sure if it was when I fell over back there just a few seconds ago or what, but a couple guys got past me, so I think when I come through the tiny blocks here on the 2nd lap, I think I'm in either 3rd or 4th place. So again, you know, I still had a good ride going, but I had lost a couple places, you know, just from typical typical riding, my style. If I could keep this thing up on 2 wheels for an entire race, I might finish 2nd. I don't know. I guess hashtag future goals, right? So, yeah. With the brakes, I have gone through and rebuilt the master cylinder again, and I finally have a brake pedal that works along with the left-hand rear brake kit. So yeah, we'll show you what happens here in just a couple minutes. So we'll go through the motocross track one more time because it's fun. Going a little bit nose high there just to catch the back wheel on the top of that step up. Some of these step ups are kind of hard to hit. You know, maybe if I was clutching it out of these corners, I'd be able to get a little bit better drive. But I don't know. I think I rely a little bit too much on the recluse clutch, honestly, because I almost never use the clutch at all. And I noticed, looking back at my very first race, which I realized also earlier this week that I never published that first race. But looking back at the video of that, I had a lot better drive out of the corners, and that was before I ever put the recluse clutch in. So maybe I really do need to start using the clutch a little bit just to get a better drive out of corners anyways. I guess maybe I'll start trying it. Probably not though. I'm more of a creature of habit. Once I get used to a certain riding style, I usually don't change my riding style easily. So we're gonna save you guys the torture of watching the woods part and just go back into the motocross track. And what you'll notice coming up here is some of the fast guys are coming up on me. I think, you know, over the jumps I'm holding my own. You know, we're clearing tabletops, so no worries really there. But the fast guys right here are coming up beside me, and I make a fatal decision to go to the outside of this berm. So I jump back down, and right there I hit something in the rut, and on the whole track there's only 3 of these metal stakes, and it sliced my rear brake line for my left-hand rear brake kit. So, had I had the rear brake pedal functioning, I could have finished this race because there would have been enough fluid still in the line that it would have still just acted like a master cylinder. So, right here, I start to realize that I don't have any brakes, and you know, after going down this stretch here, I started thinking, well, maybe this is hard packed enough that I can just very carefully use the front brake to slow down, and maybe I can finish the race, you know, just salvage points, because, you know, I had such a good start that, you know, at the end of the day, I know there's going to be people dropping out, and I also know that there's people that are potentially slower than me even without rear brakes. So, you know, right here I decided, well, we'll give it some gas and see how it works, and, you know, out in this field section, it wasn't so bad. Unfortunately, once I got back into the grass track part and the sand got a little bit thicker, and then once I got back to the motocross track, I started going over the handlebars like every time I tapped the brakes. So my race was definitely done. Like I said, I've finally got everything back together, so I'll be at Twin Bay this weekend, and hopefully all you guys will too. I hope you guys liked the video, and like I said, hopefully we'll see you guys this weekend. Thanks for watching.